Okay. Well, Gurinder, you wish to be called by your first name?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a Texas custom, isn't it? I guess it's an American custom. Everybody's on a first name basis.
Absolutely. Quite right, too.
Well, first of all, let me tell you how much I like Bend It like Beckham.
Thank
I
you.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I enjoyed the getting to know the Indian culture better. And I enjoyed seeing that juxtaposed with modern day Britain. It was really interesting to me. But let's talk a little bit about the title for people who don't know what Bend It means and don't know who Beckham is.
Okay. Well, David Beckham is the Michael Jordan of soccer in England. I mean, he's everybody's hero. He's the captain of the England soccer team. And David has this fantastic ability that when he kicks a ball towards the goal, instead of it going in a straight line to the goal, he has this amazing ability that he kicks it so it twists and turns and bends round and then hits the goal in an angle where the goalie doesn't know where it's coming. So because he can bend the ball, I thought that was a great soccer skill, but also it was a wonderful metaphor for girls. And the film is about girls kind of wanting to follow dreams when they're told, well, that's not what girls should do. And so for us girls, we can stand at the edge of a pitch. We can often see our goals, but we can't always kind of get straight there. And like him, we have to kind of twist and turn and bend the rules a little bit to finally sneak in before anyone sees us. So it's the bending of the ball and the bending of the rules that were important to me. Also, being an Indian girl and living with an Indian background as well as an English background, and combining the two, it was very important to me that Jess, my lead character, never broke the rules in terms of culture and tradition. You know, she always kind of wanted to uphold what her family believed as well as follow her own dreams. And so for Jess, you know, it's about bending the rules as opposed to breaking them when it comes to tradition as well.
Now, you are East Indian, and you're born, though, in London.
I was actually born in Kenya, but I was a baby when my parents moved to England. So I've lived in London all my life, exactly where the film is shot. That's exactly where I grew up.
But both your parents are Indian?
Yes.
Now, when you got into journalism and when you got into making feature films, did you have any of that with your family where they're saying, no, you need to be more traditional?
Oh, yes. Yes, everyone goes through that. You know, whenever you have parents who are first generation and you're second generation, doesn't matter what the culture is, you know, you're always got, you know, the pressure to kind of behave in a particular way. And I did. I mean, there is an image that people have of Indian girls, which is very sweet, very submissive, don't speak too much, and good in the kitchen and good homemakers. And I wasn't having any of that. I was like, I'm not doing that. You know, I've got a purpose. I want to do something different. I'm going to break out of what is expected of me. So I spent a lot of my adolescence refusing to wear Indian clothes, refusing to cook Indian food, and all because my mother was trying to groom me into the perfect Indian bride, which I was not ready to be.
Did you have a sister who was traditional?
Yes, I had a sister who was a lot more traditional than me. And because I was the youngest, I got away with a lot of stuff because she followed that path more. And she was into it. I mean, she loved dressing up and wearing saris and stuff. And you know, she loved cooking and doing all that stuff. And I loved to cook, but I just didn't want to do it in a traditional kind of way. And even to this day, even though I make films and I travel the world, for my mum, she says, well, that's okay, but I wish she could cook properly, you know. So she's still kind of whinging about that.
But your parents are proud of you, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I think for my parents, what was important to them was that I actually chose a path where I was talking about our community and myself and people around me and people like me and putting forward their lives and their ideas and their thoughts and their dreams, you know, out on the cinema screen. And they would have been happy with that just in England. But the fact that that image is now international and that I have an audience in sort of every corner of the world that's appreciated my work and particularly Bend It Like Beckham, I think that's an immense source of pride for them. And as first generation immigrants, and me being second generation in England, you know, I have all the hang-ups of that, you know, the kind of guilt about knowing your parents went through a hard time and worked all the shifts under the sun to earn money to send you to school, and you know, so like everyone, I carry that, and for me, it's been a tremendous source of pride for me that my parents have been able to feel that their lives were successful in that way.
One particular sequence in the film that I just loved, and you maybe can anticipate what I'm going to say. You have the wedding going on and you have the soccer game going on. And the way you cut from one to the other, that is so artistically done, Gurinder. I just loved that.
Oh, thank you.
Now tell me, did you storyboard that, or did you just shoot all of this and then all of the game and then get in the edit room and let it go?
No, I had put it together in script form. In script form, we cut from one to the other. Or as the wedding progresses, the football progresses. And then it all comes together in that moment where she's about to score the final goal. And we're going to give it away, but where her family
No, don't give it away.
Okay, well, when something happens on the football pitch, and that's the coming together of both sides. You know the bit I mean, with the moms. But, you know, I wanted to also show that, see, at the beginning of the film, when she says, I want to play soccer, you know, I want to be a professional, you know, footballer, you're like, well, that isn't going to happen. You know, she's Indian, look at her family, they don't want it to happen, it's not going to happen. But by the end of the film, that sequence really represents that, you know what, she can do both. She can be at the wedding and be traditional, but she can also be the star of the football team, the soccer team. And the intercutting like that is to show that, you know, people don't expect us to be able to manage so many things, but we are so many combinations of all these different sides. So that was a sort of cinematic way of showing you that actually you're just seeing two sides of her here, and you might not think they relate, soccer, wedding, but actually they make perfect sense in Jess's life.
Oh, that is so beautifully done. You dedicated the film to your dad.
I lost my dad just before I made the film, and so the film really is a tribute to him. And within the film, the lead girl, Jess, has a wonderful relationship with her dad that sort of isn't there at the beginning, but starts developing when her dad sees that she wants to do things differently. And I was blessed with having a father who also did that for me, and encouraged me and didn't sort of come over too hard and traditional when I started bending the rules a little bit, you know. So for me, you know, I wanted to pay tribute to that, because normally the image we see of dads, and particularly Indian dads, is that they're really traditional and they kind of forbid their daughters to do this and they must marry this person and da 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 da. And I wanted to show it's not like that, because just in the way we are blending and combining our Englishness with our Indianness, so is that generation. You know, they're not caught in some time warp. You know, they're as much kind of moving towards being more Western and balancing the two sides of themselves as the younger generation. So the film kind of hopefully is a very fresh way of looking at cultural change and showing, you know, we all are subject to change and evolving. And what the important thing is that we all have traditions. The important thing is to make the traditions your own and make them work for you. So like for me, you know, the film is peppered with an Indian language called Punjabi, which is my language, which is what I speak. And I didn't speak it at all when I was growing up, but my grandmother came to live with us when we were 11, and I had to learn it because she couldn't speak anything else. So now I wouldn't for the world give up the ability to speak my language, because it opens me up to so many other things. So that for me is something to cherish. So it's a combination, you know, you have to take what's yours and make it work for you.
Are you a soccer fan, or were you a soccer fan?
I was not a soccer fan when I started the film. I was just completely hopeless at all kinds of sports. I was the girl at school that no one wanted in their team because I was always so useless. So it's a completely bogus thing that I've made such a successful sports movie when I was so useless at sports at school. But I really knew the value of soccer in Britain, you know, as such a massively popular sport, you know, and and in England it's a man's sport, it's a man's world, and quite macho. So I wanted to be a bit naughty and take an Indian girl and put her in the middle of that man's world. And also I wanted to make a film, you know, having been at the 1999 Women's World Cup and seeing the women's team play China, the USA women's team play China, and also seeing all the 90,000 spectators, most of whom were young girls with their dads and mums watching. You know, I just wanted to take that joyfulness and that spirit of watching girls play and the power of that and put it in a movie and create images of young girls that are not manufactured. You know, they're not tiny, skinny little things with perfect hair and perfect makeup. And, you know, they're girls, some who are tall, some are short, some are a bit podgy, you know, some are a little big on the backside and, you know, just all these different things. But they're all playing football and they're all really strong and they're really athletic and they all look really powerful and look really happy with their bodies and look really content, you know. So I wanted that sense of self-esteem to be there for girls watching the film so they could sort of feel good about their bodies and not sort of have to go on, you know, go and get these eating disorders and, you know, all that is such a sad reflection of modern day life.
Your star, and if you would please pronounce her name for me.
Paminda Nagra.
Paminda. Okay, Nagra. Was she a soccer player?
All the girls in the film are girls who play soccer in London teams. The only two who didn't play were Paminda Nagra and Keira Knightley. Paminda plays Jess, Keira plays Jules. These were the two real actresses, and I wanted actors because, yes, there is soccer in the film, but there's a whole lot else. So I needed proper actresses with training, and what I did was put them into training. And so I put them onto a 3-month schedule of playing soccer every day from morning till night. And bless them, they went for it with gusto. And quite early on Keira got concussion several times from hitting the ball, and Paminda hurt her toe and then got a phobia about kicking the ball in case she hurt her toe more. And so I said to the girls, I said, you know what, actually, you know, we can get doubles for some of the soccer stuff. You don't have to work so hard at it. And as soon as I said that, they were like, are you mad? We don't want doubles. We're going to do it. And then they just broke through all their phobias and just really went for it in a big way. And you see that on the screen. I mean, they really played soccer fantastically. And they're extremely proud of the fact, as am I, that there are no doubles in the film at all. It's all them.
That's remarkable.
Yeah.
That is remarkable. Well, I could sit here for another hour and talk with you, but we haven't that much time. Anyway, thank you for coming to Dallas.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed myself immensely here. I've been just so pleased with the reaction of audiences from Dallas and Houston in the films screenings that I've had. And you know, in England we have this image of Texans as being something else, but I had no idea that there's such a huge film literate community here who have sort of appreciated my film on all its different levels. It's been a real pleasure for me. Thank you.
Well, then you must come back.
I'd love to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Gurinder, for people who don't understand Bendit and don't know who Beckham is, tell us what the title means.
Well, David Beckham is the Michael Jordan of soccer in England. And he has this wonderful...
That's good, okay. Are you still rolling? Oh, okay. In your own life, when you went to be a filmmaker and a journalist, was your family... let me do that over. Okay. In your own life, what were your parents like when you wanted to go into journalism and filmmaking?
The film is very autobiographical, and I decided at quite a young age that I wasn't going to fulfill the role that was expected of every young Indian woman.
Okay, that's good. You dedicated the film to your father.
I lost my father just before I made the film, and I wanted to pay tribute to the way he had helped me.
Okay, that's fine. All right. are you or were you a soccer fan?
Unfortunately, I was the most useless sports person in school. I was the person that no one wanted in their team. And it's
That's good. Okay. Parminder, yes. Your lead actress, Parminder Nagra, is she a soccer player?
all the girls in the film were soccer players except for Parminder and Kira. Kira played Jules. I wanted proper actresses for those roles because there's more to the film than just soccer. And I wanted actresses who would be able to really, play a very convincing emotional role of girls going from being girls, if you like, to women. But Parminder and Kira went into 3 months solid training, football training with a coach every day, morning till night.
That's good. Okay. Hang on just 1 second, Victor. Okay. I didn't ask you this, but I'll ask you now. Did you have to get David Beckham's permission to use his name?
Absolutely. We had to call David Beckham. We spoke to his people, and we had to get his permission to use his name. And also, I wanted him to support the film. And luckily for us, David is a huge fan of women's soccer, and he feels if more girls played, then it would attract more families to the game, and it would be less aggressive and less violent. Because in England, we have quite a lot of aggression at football matches. So for David, he was very happy to support us. And when the film was finished, he actually saw the final film. We had a screening for him and Victoria, Posh Spice, his wife. And it was wonderful because he loved it. And he loved the soccer. He thought he couldn't believe that the girls weren't professional players. He just so commended their skills. But also he loved the whole Indian story. He thought it was very funny and very touching.
That's good. Okay. That'll get it. Yeah.